Today's webinar discussing unemployment for our realtors. I am Angela Sicoli, 2020 President of New Jersey Realtors. We are very fortunate to have the Commissioner of our New Jersey Department of Labor with us, Robert Asaro-Angelo. We are very grateful that he could take the time from his busy schedule to talk with our membership. And now our CEO, Jared Grasso.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar today. We were oversubscribed, and I know that there's a lot of people who will be watching us via live stream today. I personally want to thank the Commissioner for giving us his time today, and his staff who is also listening in. I know that you have all been working tirelessly on behalf of the state of New Jersey, and it means so much for you to take the time out today to be with our membership. So the Commissioner is going to run through an opening statement for all those who are listening in. We've had over 500 questions from our participants, and I know that, Rob, you're going to get to all 500 of those today, no problem. I do want to let everybody know that we will be updating our FAQ after this based on how Rob responds to the questions. And we're also going to make sure that the recording of this webinar is made available to all of you sometime later this afternoon or by tomorrow. Those of you who are listening via YouTube, you're not going to be able to submit questions, but I encourage you to go back, rewatch the webinar. I'm sure the Commissioner's going to answer most of your questions. And with that, Commissioner, I am going to turn it over to you for your opening statement.
Thanks, Jared. Can you hear me okay?
You're good.
Great. Thank you to all your members for joining us today. I know that this has been a very difficult time for many of them and their families, as it is for all of us. But I think that it's important that we have these conversations and I can get as many answers out as possible. I know you mentioned 500 questions. I bet it could probably be boiled down to 10 or 50, but most of them are going to be, when am I going to have my benefits? We've really entered a tsunami here in New Jersey. All the work that we're doing to flatten the curve, to protect our healthcare system, to protect the health of our residents, had the opposite effect on our offices here and across the country. If you think about the top of that curve that didn't get flattened, we went right to that top of that curve right away. We had a 1,600% increase in filings when this all started about a month ago. We've been trying to catch up ever since. This is not a problem unique to New Jersey. I'm sure most of you have seen national coverage about this in other states. In Florida, they've moved to only paper applications. I can't even imagine how they're handling that. And other states are facing the same problems that we are. That is not to say that that's an excuse or that anybody should feel better because of that. Just want you to know it's not a uniquely New Jersey problem. Luckily here in New Jersey, we have the highest amount of new workers by state who are eligible for unemployment. A full 53% of our workers in New Jersey are eligible for regular unemployment before you even count the expanded federal benefits under the CARES Act. That being said, we are working every day tirelessly to make sure we can answer every question. The other thing I want to say also is that while unemployment is a negative, there's no doubt about that, that's what the system was here for. Wage earners in New Jersey and their employers have been paying into unemployment for before all of us were even born. And it's a system that works, and it's here for folks right now when they need it most. We've been paying, this week we paid out to over 500,000 New Jerseyans. So the system is working for those who've been paying into it. Clearly now we're going to be talking a lot today about the new federal programs that many realtors who are not wage earners will be eligible for. So now that's what we're anxious to get to. But a couple of things first. We made some recent upgrades. A lot of you folks who are independent contractors who might have filed already, you likely got an email from us earlier this week telling you the quote unquote good news that you've been found ineligible. That counterintuitively, that is the first step to being processed for pandemic unemployment assistance for independent contractors and self-employed. The federal law specifically says that those benefits are only available to folks who are not eligible for regular unemployment insurance. And the only way that we can find somebody not eligible is to put them through the first step of the unemployment process. So everybody who's gotten an email from us, everybody who's applied and been found ineligible, you've taken the first step. We are on the verge, I believe, of having our PUA system up and running, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. I just want to step back for a second and tell you why it's not something that's automatic. 3 weeks ago today, the CARES Act was signed into law. Usually when there's a new federal program for us to administer, because unemployment is a federal program that states administer, we usually have months, if not a year, to get that program set up. We've now have 5 brand new programs that we've been asked to set up immediately. I'm happy to announce that folks, one of the major ones was the additional $600 that goes to all folks who are collecting unemployment benefits. That money has gone out. This past week was the first week that people collected payments, and those payments were for the first week in April. And those payments will be continuing on top of everybody's unemployment benefit from here through the end of July, as when that benefit runs out. So people will be getting payments into early August for the weeks, a couple weeks prior for that payment. We were one of the first states to get that $600 payment out to our eligible recipients, so I'm happy about that. Our next step certainly is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, which, as I mentioned, is for folks who are not eligible for regular unemployment insurance. I think only 2 states have gotten this up and running yet, and quite frankly, I'm not sure that their programs will pass muster eventually. I talked to Massachusetts yesterday, California. They're hopeful to get theirs up and running by the end of April or early May, but I'm hoping to beat them. I'm hoping to have something out for everybody next week. But we already have a guide on our website that I know we shared with Jared, and hopefully share out to his members. I'm going to be updating that guide again today to make it even more simpler and user-friendly for folks who are applying as independent contractors or self-employed to go through the step-by-step process of how to fill out the questionnaire for your particular circumstances. Some other upgrades we've made. We are now batch processing more claims coming in that don't need to talk to an agent. The big slowdown on unemployment hasn't been somebody who has a clean claim. So if you're a wage earner, you've been working on a W-2 job or part-time or full-time, and you have your information in the system, you file a claim, for the most part, those are going to go through automatically. About 52, 53% of our claims are of that population. So they get approved, they're eligible, and they'll get their first payment in 2 to 3 weeks, which is the same timeline as it was before the pandemic. It's the other part, the folks who need some kind of agent intervention of where the slowdown is, because they need to talk to a human being, and not just any human being, somebody who knows how to process an unemployment claim. There's volumes and volumes of state and federal law that person has to be knowledgeable about. So we can't just hire somebody off the street to come on and fix your unemployment claim or to put it through the process. However, we are augmenting staff to help lighten that load for the folks who need to touch a claim, because most of the calls coming in are general questions about our programs, especially our new programs, or questions that somebody else can probably answer based on our FAQs on our website or other supporting information we give them. So we're trying to do that to triage, so that way the folks who actually work on claims will have more time to work with the claimants who need them the most. We've also instituted a new intelligent email response system to go to the Contact Us form on our webpage at nj.gov/labor or myunemployment.nj.gov. There's a new Contact Us form with a new email system that will basically, it's intelligently designed to answer your email based on your question and give you back information that will hopefully be helpful to you going forward. Another big problem for folks are changing your password or PIN reset. We have now done a better job of automating that process. A lot of these, I'll call them hurdles, were put in place to protect your identity and your financial security. It was never a problem when we only had 7,000 claimants a week. But now, obviously, to get information back to a population of hundreds of thousands of claimants quickly has become a little bit of a hurdle for folks. So we've now automated some of those processes as well. So hopefully going forward, things will be getting smoother. There's no doubt that we feel your frustration. Like I said the other day, there's a pit in my stomach when I go to bed every night thinking about the people who have not gotten their benefits yet. And we're working furiously. All 3,000 employees of the Department of Labor are working day and night to ease the pain of this pandemic for our workforce, whether it be helping people find new work. We do have a jobs portal, jobs.covid19.nj.gov. The last I checked had about 50,000 plus jobs available on there for workers who are ready to go work right now. So there are folks who are hiring right now, and we are hopeful to get the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program up and running for self-employed independent contractors real soon. But also just want to reiterate over and over again that if you have applied and been found eligible, you have taken that first step. So you are ahead in the process. So just hopefully you'll be hearing. And if you have done that and been found ineligible, you will be contacted by us. There's nothing further you need to do. It's part of our mandate from the U.S. Department of Labor for all of these programs that we have to reach out to anybody who is eligible for these programs. So that will mean basically our whole population in New Jersey who's been found ineligible for the most part. If they have any kind of connection to employment the past 2 years, they will be eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance. Other program I forgot to mention was the extension of benefits. There'll be a 13-week extension, usually in New Jersey. Their benefit period is 26 weeks. Thanks to the federal government, we're going to be expanding that to 39 weeks, which is also longer than most states. Some states only pay out benefits for a handful of weeks or a dozen or so. So we have very generous benefits here in New Jersey. Both on the financial side, we have a maximum benefit of $713, which is higher than I think all but 2 or 3 states. We might even be the highest. The calculation always changes, which is why there's increased demand for this, which we're happy about. We want people to get these benefits. So the extension will be finalized shortly as well. We just received guidance from the U.S. Department of Labor on that late Sunday night. But again, that's the same situation. If folks are currently collecting, they won't need to do anything. And folks who have exhausted since early July of last year, they will get contacted by us to let them know they are now eligible for this extension of benefits. And so I think I'll leave it there. I just want to reiterate again that the system is working, and I know it's not working as quickly or as efficiently for everybody as they want, especially folks who are independent contractors or self-employed. Please understand this is not a population we are used to dealing with. When you think about unemployment insurance, which is what we administer here in the state, nobody in that realm has paid into the insurance system, meaning their insurance premiums through their payroll taxes, and 2, they're not even unemployed in the traditional sense, as employment in our realm means W-2 wage earners. So while people have put this onto the Departments of Labor to administer this system, because we have payment systems, quite frankly, it's not really even unemployment insurance, which is why it's called unemployment assistance. So we just ask for your patience as much as we can and reiterate that no matter what, that you will get every single penny that you're eligible for backdated to the first day you're eligible for those benefits. So for the pandemic unemployment assistance, that will be back to the first week in February. But the $600 payment doesn't go into effect until the first week of April. So hopefully that answers a bunch of questions off the top. But Jared, I'm happy to take any additional ones that in your big stack that you have over there.
Commissioner, thank you so much. Again, I just want to reiterate, I know we've talked numerous times over phones over the last couple of weeks. I know you've been working tirelessly, and I know your staff has put in many hours. So thank you for your leadership during this incredible time. So with that, we have our first question, and it's a common question that you're getting, Rob. I already filed for my regular UI. Do I need to file again?
No. I mean, if you're talking about pandemic unemployment assistance, then no, you don't need to file again. Quite frankly, all these, sorry, I'm moving my camera around a little bit. Quite frankly, all these programs, you will be notified by us if you're already in our system as having applied. And even if you applied last year and exhausted your UI benefits, you'll be hearing from us in short order.
Great. My status benefit is $0. Is that a denial?
Most likely, yes. It probably means an invalid claim, meaning you don't have any W-2 wage earnings from us. But again, you will now be eligible under pandemic unemployment assistance. You'll be hearing from us shortly. I also want to mention, Jared, that it's not just about the CARES Act and the PUA. Our website also has an FAQ on the federal, I gotta get the acronym right, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act for FICRA, also has provisions in there for self-employed and independent contractors, which is about if you're home, if you're sick with COVID or have any symptoms, you have 2 weeks of paid sick leave. And then on top of that, an additional 10 weeks of paid leave to take care of a child or a dependent whose school is closed. Now you might be thinking, well, that doesn't fit me because I'm not an employee. But there is a provision in there that you can take a credit for that same amount as if you were an employee off your taxes as a direct tax credit. So if you look at our website, there's 2 FAQs for independent contractors. The first one, which is a 2-pager about the FICRA, also lays out the tax credits available through that program for folks. It's an IRS reimbursement, so there's links on there to get the IRS site for more information. So support for independent contractors and self-employed isn't just about the pandemic unemployment assistance. I want to make sure folks know about that as well.
That's great, Rob. Thank you. And as we're
Good luck there.
talking, or
Cool.
as you're talking, Rob, they're putting up some Q&A stuff that you guys have put out for us. So I appreciate that. Our next question is, I am a real estate agent and would have no wages from last year to present. Can I still file?
You're a real estate agent. Yeah, when you're talking about wages, if you mean W-2 wages, you would not be eligible for unemployment. But if you have other earnings from basically January 1, 19 on, you will be eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance.
I think they were talking more commission, Rob. So they weren't actually in the business last year. They were maybe working in some other field, and now they've got into the real estate world. Should they file from their previous W-2, even though they're now a 1099?
And I hate to, I'm not trying to evade any answers, Jared, but as you can imagine, like I said before, the unemployment law is very laborious, and it would depend on when it was they had those wages. But I guess the broad and good answer is that they're going to be eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance no matter what, which will be based on what their weekly earnings would be, whether it be 1099 earnings, 1065 earnings, or W-2 earnings would be for that time period.
That answers the question. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
How do I check the status of my claim?
So we have a new function on there. I forgot to mention that before. A lot of folks are calling about checking their status. If you go onto the website, myunemployment.nj.gov, and towards the top on that blue bar, there's a check claim status option there. You can enter your information and see the status of your claim. Keep checking daily until your claim status shows filed, if it doesn't already, because that's part of that backlog of the folks who need that agent intervention. And most of the stuff is going on behind the scenes. We have a team of folks, a large team of folks who are just going through all these claims that are called agent intervention. In the past, we would be calling folks to get information. We're pretty much just going through ourselves and fixing the most common problems that keep somebody from being eligible in the first place. And should be a chart on there that shows you what the different things mean when you check your claim status. If your claim status is shown as pending, please, like I said, please continue to check until it says filed, and check back regularly. If your claim status is showing as filed with amount in the WBR field, that means you're ready to claim your weekly benefits. And then there'll be a link on there to show you how to do that claim and certify your benefits every week. But to answer the main question was myunemployment.nj.gov, and there's a link on there to check your claim status.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. Is an invalid claim the same as a denial?
Yes, invalid claims will become a PUA claim if they're eligible in a PUA, which they most likely will be once we get that going, as long as they have some kind of labor force attachment since January of last year.
Okay. If we've previously exhausted unemployment benefits and now work as an independent contractor, how would that work?
Again, it goes back to when they exhausted benefits. Those two parts, right? So if they're talking about regular UI, if they had exhausted their benefits anytime after July 8th or something like that, whatever that first week of July was last year, they will now be eligible for the extended benefits under regular UI. But either way, if they've been earning, have any kind of earnings since that point in time, they'll be eligible for PUA.
Okay, great. Will I still be able to collect if I work if I work part or full time at another position? So think of it, I'm a realtor and I'm also working in a part-time position or maybe even a full-time position somewhere in another field.
Not if you're working full-time in another position.
Okay. I put my employer as my broker. So this is under the UI application process, Commissioner. So we advised to our members that they should put themselves as self-employed. Some of them made the mistake, some of our members made the mistake of putting their broker as the employer. Is there a way that they need to correct that, or it's just going to be a simple denial no matter what?
In most cases, the latter. They don't need to correct anything. Once your claim is filed, you can't really go back and correct it. But in that situation, exactly, so what will happen on the back end is that we'll see, well, this employer, whoever they listed, whoever that broker was, has no wage records for that individual. So they're going to be denied anyway, and they'll be put into the pot for PUA.
That's good. Yeah, we've had a lot of concern. They thought that they were going to miss out on the benefit, the PUA benefit, because they made that mistake. Good. I filed to collect UI and my benefit rate is from a small part-time job, not my real estate business. Can I correct this?
I filed for UI. It would depend whether they found eligible or not. It's a good question. They have to try to call. I guess it would depend on what they're trying to fix exactly. If they're trying to say they no longer want regular UI and they'd rather apply for PUA because it'll be more financially beneficial, then just don't certify each week. Don't do the regular UI certification and wait till PUA opens up.
Okay, good. Next is what happens if we have a closing while receiving PUA? So that means that they're going to have some commission monies coming in, and let's say it's in late April or May. What happens to them if they're receiving the PUA payment?
You need to report commission payments as well for when the work was done, not when the payment was received. So if you're claiming benefits every week, you need to put that income in the week that the work was done, not when you receive payment.
So it's a week by week adjustment.
Correct.
Okay.
Which, just to be honest with everybody, that's part of the problem with the PUA, because not even in the real estate broker situation, there are plenty of independent contractors who get paid on a quarterly basis. So that's what we're trying to figure out now is because our system is built around the W-2 wage payment system, which is obviously weekly or bi-weekly, to now trying to stand up a system where some folks get paid quarterly or even less often in that realm is going to be one of the challenges for us.
Okay. And Rob, I think you addressed this, and I know you addressed it, but let's ask it one more time. Will we receive the extra $600 if and when we receive the PUA?
Yes, and it'll be retroactive back to the first week of April. That was when you were eligible for PUA.
Great. How do I calculate the rate of pay/weekly compensation as an independent contractor?
So it's basically 60% of your average weekly earnings. So if you're an independent contractor and you get paid $10,000 a month, you divide it by the number of weeks in that month, and then times it by, then 60% of that is your average, up to a maximum of $713. That's for regular UI as well as will be for PUA.
Okay. How do I calculate we did that one. The debit card I received in the mail has a 0 balance. Is that normal?
Yes, it happens very often. Basically, the card got there before you certified your benefits. So once you certify, the benefits will be deposited on your card. Payments show up in the account usually 48 hours or 2 business days after certification.
And Rob, I know you also addressed this, but we got another question in. What is the actual time frame for the PUA payouts?
That's a different question. That's the payouts.
Okay.
I'll keep my fingers crossed that we have this up and running late next week. That's fingers crossed very hard. The payments will probably be coming then. We're a few weeks away from payment on PUA.
Okay. So here's a question, pretty specific. I have an S Corp and I am the only employee. I applied for UI, was granted an amount each week. Between applying and approval, I had a closing, but will not be paying myself anything until December 2020. What do I need to do as the owner and as the employee?
When you're certifying your benefits every week, you need to put in the payment that you will be receiving for that closing. So it's basically you're putting in the wages for that work when the work is completed.
Right. Okay. So here's a good one. Who do I call if I'm having technical difficulty?
Jared, could give out your cell phone. Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure, Rob.
Honestly, your best. I don't know what technical difficulties mean. It's probably just a general question with the website. I mean, our website is working fine. It probably means you just want to answer about something you're seeing on there or an answer you're getting. I would go to the new Contact Us form. I know many of you have tried that in the weeks past and it's gone into a black hole. We've revamped that to have it so you have like a whole intelligence system on the back end to filter those emails based on the issue area you're having. So that's probably your best way. And if it's a password PIN issue, there's instructions on there when you email that system on how to reset your PIN and your password, which is one of the most common requests we have.
Great. So what should I do if I realize I made a mistake on my UI application? Should I submit a new one or just wait for a decision?
Wait for a decision.
How long is the process time for a UI application?
I think, like I said before, I think I said this. I'm doing a lot of these calls. I'm forgetting where I said what. But basically, for a clean application, you had a clean app that came in, got eligible, certified with no problems. It's 2 to 3 weeks, based on when in the week you filed that claim. But that is the same timeline as it was before this pandemic hit. So folks who have a clean claim filed are getting paid in the same time as they were in January of this year.
So I received a follow-up email from the NJ Department of Labor asking for additional information. How can I verify this is not a scam?
How can you verify it's not a scam?
Probably the web address, maybe?
I mean, all of our emails come from dol.nj.gov. And it's become, I've heard this kind of question a lot. If you're getting questions asked, it might come from e-adjudication@dol.nj.gov. But any email from us for any reason will come from dol.nj.gov.
Great, thank you.
We're actually having a problem now. We're calling folks who've been waiting desperately to get a call back, and now we're calling folks and they think it's a scam and they won't give us information, which is a little bit frustrating for us.
So you'll actually make your staff will actually make phone calls to people who have applied?
Yes, if we need something, yes, they need to cure something in their application or we need more information, they might get a call as well.
Okay, and they'll identify themselves properly, I
Yeah,
assume?
I mean, and also, I mean, nobody else would know about when you filed your claim other than our staff. So I think that should be the first tip off. That's secure.
That's a good point. Okay. So our next question is, which year should I use to determine my income? If I haven't filed for my 2019 taxes yet, should I use 2018?
We're going to use the PUA is going to be based on 2019 taxes, which I know a lot of folks haven't filed yet. So we won't have any record of that income for what's reported. So we'll start with the PUA minimum, which is I think $230 or something like that. But you'll also get this $600 on top of it. And then we'll be reaching out to you for more records if you want to obviously have a claim that's higher than the minimum.
Gotcha. So here's an interesting one. Do brokers qualify for PUA?
Most likely, anybody who's self-employed, independent contractor, and has had some kind of connection to the labor force, meaning some kind of earnings since January of last year, will most likely be qualified. It's a very broad qualification factors.
Okay. So if I'm collecting Social Security, but I am also a real estate licensee, can I still collect unemployment or PUA?
Yes.
Okay, I am taking care of my disabled child because school is closed. Is there a family care option or should I just apply as an independent contractor under the PUA system?
There's no, I mean, none of our benefits are affected by your family situation, but you can get a tax credit. So one, you could apply if you're out of work. You can also get a tax credit, like I was talking about, because of the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. If you're home with a child who does not have regular school or daycare or any other kind of facility they usually go to, as part of that fact sheet that Jared had showed earlier.
Okay.
And also on our website, real quick, Jared, on our website is nj.gov/labor. There's also a link for benefits information, and it has a whole matrix of like 13 different scenarios and which programs, federal and state, might be most applicable to you. And it has sort of a flow chart. Like, so for example, you're an employee at a covered business, you might be best off taking the 2 weeks of mandated paid sick leave, then the 10 weeks of mandated federal family leave, and then maybe you could then go to UI after that. So it has like a little flow chart of there, what benefits are most beneficial to each individual who's looking for them.
Right, and there's the chart right there that I think Billy just put up for us. Good. Another question, and you answered it earlier, so forgive me for asking again. Do we have to apply for the $600 per week? Is this automatic? How does it actually work?
It's automatic. Anybody who's receiving benefits from us, which for that week, that first week of March 29th was that Sunday. That was the first week New Jerseyans were eligible for that disbursement. So they will, anybody who's getting any benefits starting this week, will have that additional $600, and it'll come in a separate payment. So if you got the deposit in your bank card last Thursday or Friday, you probably got the $600 on your bank card on Tuesday, and that cycle will keep going until that benefit period for the 600 runs out. So you might be collecting unemployment after that, but per the federal CARES Act, that $600 is only for the weeks leading up till July 31st.
Okay. And just to be clear, the independent contractors that are out there right now that have applied and they're in that kind of queue to get the PUA money, their $600 check isn't coming out this week. It'll be coming out when you issue the PUA.
Correct. And they'll get retro back to whenever they were eligible for.
Perfect. I just had a question come in. Can a husband and wife collect under the PUA system?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a family income limit when applying for the benefits?
There's no income limit for benefits, but there is a max benefit, which is $713. So basically, if you make $63,000 and over, you're going to top out at $713.
Okay. This question happens a lot with our industry, and I'm sure you've heard this question before. If I have a license in 2 states and practice in both states, where should I apply for my unemployment?
Well, you might want to file based on residency, but I'm going to guess if it's New Jersey and one of our border states, that we have more generous benefits here in New Jersey.
So it's better to apply through New Jersey system.
For regular unemployment, but I think we're still waiting for guidance from the USDOL. We did a call yesterday with other states. This was a question there as well, because I know I don't want to get in the weeds too much, people, just so you understand where we're coming from on this PUA. Like I mentioned before, the difficulties with it. One of it is on regular unemployment, we have an interstate system to share wage records with other states, not just our border states, but any states. So we can do an automatic check of folks' earnings no matter where they earn them. There is no such system for 1099s, 1065s, or other forms of income. So we're waiting for guidance from the U.S. Department of Labor on how we're going to handle that aspect of it. Because like you said, you might be getting, let's just say you make $60,000, you might make $30,000 here in New Jersey, $30,000 in Pennsylvania. We don't have an automatic way to see your earnings in Pennsylvania. Quite frankly, right now, we don't automatic way to see your earnings in New Jersey either, depending on how you filed your taxes. If you're a purely federal filer or do the joint federal state tax filing, we have no vision into that. Luckily in New Jersey, we do have some ability to share information with Treasury, thanks to a law that was passed earlier this year about misclassification. Wasn't even about this. That will give us a little bit more headway than other states, but there'll still be information we'll never see. So we'll have to get from the filer themselves.
Got it. Thank you, Rob. How many weeks does the PUA benefit last?
It'll be 39 weeks. So it'll be the regular 26. And by the time the PUA is up and running, the extension will also be included in that. So it'll be 39 weeks total.
Okay. Can you explain the dependent allowance?
Dependent allowance, I'm not super familiar with that, but I know a couple things. One, that you can't go over the max 713. So let's just say you're 713 is your weekly benefit. I know there's additions for the dependents. I think it's 7% for the first one and 4% for the next 2. So if you're at 713, there's no additional monies coming. But if you're under that 713, you can get an additional 7% for the first dependent and then 4% for the other 2 dependents.
Great, thank you. So this is a very realtor specific question. So my wife and I are a team. So they're a realtor team and they're both active realtor members. And we both have our own listings. Are we both eligible for PUA?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Next question. Who should I list in the, well, we already answered this. The question is, who should I list in the employer question? In the employer field, we've already said you should list yourself. You're a self-employed independent contractor.
Correct.
Is your 2019 tax return required to be filed if you apply for unemployment?
We can't require anybody to file it, but we might need it for income verification.
Got it.
PUA.
If we get paid a commission after our benefits start, what would happen to our benefits? Question 1. And then the NJUE is making me go for job training to collect. How's that possible? I don't know what the NJUE is.
Me neither. And
Okay.
I'm fear it's probably one of our programs, but I'm a little acronymed out. I don't know what NJUE is. It doesn't ring a bell to me. But what was the first part of the question?
If we get paid a commission after our benefits start, what would happen? What happens to our benefits? So if you're in the
right.
PUA, that's when you have to disclose that.
So if you're making a certain amount of money that week, again, that goes the week that you earn it, not that you get paid it. You might just be eligible for less benefits that week or zero benefits that week.
Okay.
But doesn't mean your claim ends. You just recertify to a different number the next week if you don't have any more work that next week or earnings.
Okay. If this is an interesting question, and I think I already know the answer to this, but will the state somehow garnish our 1099 wages if we ever go back to work?
Will the state garnish our wages?
Yeah, because the PUI benefits the added benefit. So if you're back to work full time, then that benefit you're filing, so the benefit goes away.
Right, you just wouldn't certify that week. I mean,
Right.
yes, if you are fraudulently collecting UI benefits, yes, we can garnish out off your 1099 or any of your tax returns.
Okay, so I'm getting some people saying that they have been asked to go to, so that UE is the unemployment. I guess it's where is it again? We'll come back to that because some people are being asked to come back to go to some type of training program. It must be under the Department of Labor in order to qualify for the PUA. It might be just a glitch in the system, maybe.
Definitely not to qualify for PUA. We have not.
Okay.
There's nothing in the system yet that's programmed to do anything with PUA that's public facing.
Okay. All right. Next question is it too late to apply for UI?
No.
Okay. How will we be contacted after we apply? It is via email, correct?
Email or regular mail.
Or regular mail. And also we're getting a lot of questions. I could see them in the chat box popping up that you can't see, Rob. The $0, when you receive $0, that is your denial notice. That it's also saying that you're in the queue for the Department of Labor, correct?
Correct. You'll be hearing from us once the PUA is up and running. Perfect. And again, I want to repeat, that means you've taken the first step.
So this is a good question because we just heard the news yesterday that the SBA is now broke, no money's left. Did that have any impact on the PUA? Is there still monies available through the PUA? Yes,
there's, I mean, I don't want to say unlimited, but there's no, in the federal law, there's nothing in there about a limit. It actually just says the Department of Treasury will transfer to the U.S. Department of Labor all monies necessary to fulfill the demand, essentially.
Right. So how long does it normally take to get that denial notice, Commissioner?
It could be, it depends upon what reason we're denying. And I don't know all the different algorithms, but I'm sure there's some ways you answer certain questions will be an automatic. Some might need some more time to check with employer history. For example, that person that talked about putting their broker as their employer, it might take some time to see, then us to look at our records and see, there's no record of that employer having paid payroll tax for that worker, then they'll get denied. I don't know how quickly that automatic process happens.
Okay, great. I understand that if you have direct deposit, you'll receive the monies via your banks. However, will it be a check in the mail or a bank card to withdraw the funds?
If you're already in our system and you have a payment process in our system already, you'll get the funds the same way you get your regular UI benefit.
And if not, it'll be tied to that card that they receive?
You get to choose when you're filing.
Okay.
I definitely recommend direct deposit.
And I guess I'll ask the follow-up question. So the direct deposit option, if I'm not in the system, that'll be made available to me once we get notified that the PUA payment's coming out?
Correct.
All right. I am an independent contractor and I haven't done anything. What is my first step?
Well, you could do two things. One, go on and file for unemployment, myunemployment.nj.gov. Do your filing. Jared shared the screen before about the walking through the screenshots. File and be denied. That's your first step. I know folks think we're gonna start all over again when we get our process up and running, but no, folks who have been deemed ineligible are already in our system. They won't have to. They won't have to start filing a new application when we get up and running. We'll take them we'll mass upload them into the PUA system.
Good. As a real estate agent, what date should I consider as being unemployed?
The date you stop having listings, I guess, or taking commissions, or
So probably from the date, the last payment that you were paid a commission, right?
that. Well, I guess it would be the last. Well, but the earlier questions, it's really about when you did the work that's going to earn you a commission.
Okay. So to reiterate, the PUA will be a separate application question?
TBD.
Okay.
But I guess, but to calm any fears, you will not, if you've already applied, you will not need to reapply. So we're just trying to figure out now if we're going to just to put something in our current application process as a checkbox for PUA, or if we're going to have a separate standalone. So going forward is TBD, but if you already applied for UI, you've essentially applied for PUA and just waiting to hear back from us.
Okay, and I guess that kind of segues into this. If I received the e-adjudication email, do I have to fill it out?
I would depend. I mean, if you're somebody who filed for UI and got denied because you had no W-2 earnings, probably not. But I don't want to. I'm scared to answer that question. I don't know if not answering that means you'll somehow get knocked out of the system. I would answer the email, answer it truthfully, obviously.
Right. Okay.
I guess it's hard to answer that question not knowing what they're being asked.
Right. Okay. That's fair. So the question, the next one is, are unemployment benefits taxable? So I'm guessing they're asking if the PUA, though, is that a taxable event?
Yes.
Okay. And then that additional $600 is a taxable event?
Correct.
Okay. Will I have to pay back my?
You can choose when you're applying whether or not you want the taxes taken out of the payment. Especially for independent contractors, I would advise to choose no. I think it'll get to you quicker.
Okay. Will I have to pay back my PUA benefits when I start working again?
No, you just won't certify that week for benefits. If you start working, then don't certify for benefits that week.
Okay. Here's a very specific question. Can an L2 visa holder apply for the benefit?
That's I don't know. I mean, if they're let me put it this way, if they're working in New Jersey legally, they should be. I believe that they are eligible.
Okay. All right. How you holding up, Rob?
I'm good. I'm used to it.
Okay. All right.
I just worry that I make sure I don't say anything wrong. That's my biggest fear.
No, you're doing great, and you're doing awesome for us, and I think we're answering a lot of my members' questions. So I appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate your patience, not just for everybody who's been in line and waiting, but especially this new universe that we've never had to deal with before, and trying to get things right. And I understand that when you see a bill passed that you want things to be ready to go right away. This is something that is something we've never had to deal with before. We'll make sure we get it right for you and your members, because if we get it wrong, I don't want the feds coming back to you guys saying, "Oh, we want our money back," because it was dispersed improperly.
Right. No, and I understand, and thank you. So if we're going to keep going, we got a few more minutes, right?
Great.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. My claim says filed with zeros, and I requested unemployment to be direct deposited, and I haven't received the card in the mail you spoke about. Do I need this card?
No, I'm sorry. So there's two ways to get paid, either direct deposit or bank card, depending on which you choose in the process. So if you chose direct deposit, that's how you will end up getting paid out under PUA.
Great. If I file jointly with my spouse and I am a 1099 independent contractor, but my spouse isn't, can I still apply?
Yes.
I was on maternity leave in 2019, so my income will not reflect my normal income. How can this be addressed?
That's a good question. And it also depends on if they're a wage earner or if they were an independent contractor. It's really based on your average weekly benefit during the covered period. I don't know the specific answer, but I know that obviously a lot of folks go through unemployment who are on maternity leave and they don't have any, there's no penalty for being on leave. So I think it would be I'm trying to think about what my UI director would be telling me behind my back if he was here. I think that would be based on the weekly benefit, the weekly earnings you were earning when you were working.
Okay. All right. So in 20, and I'm just as a follow-up question then, Rob. So if I was out essentially for the entire year of 2019, so then I had zero earning as a independent contractor realtor, you could still apply, correct?
Yes, I would think you'll have to have the earnings from this year that you have to be able to verify.
Okay.
These are good questions. I'll try to get back to you on, because obviously we don't want to be penalizing anybody if they were out on maternity leave. I got a chat from one of my staffers about the L2 question.
Okay.
Eligibility for immigrants and visa holders. If they're work authorized when they file and during the time they're receiving benefits, they can receive benefits as long as they're work authorized.
Great, thank you. And thank you for your staff for getting back to you so quickly. That's great. If I apply for PUA, but we get a commission check after, what should I do? We answered that. You apply and then you notify the Department of Labor that you receive that income, correct?
Right, that you earned that income, yes.
Earned, correct. All right, I had a bad year last year. Can I use my 2018 numbers?
No,
No, it's got to be based on 2019.
correct.
Can you reconfirm that an invalid claim is the same as a denial?
Yes, I think. Yeah, I mean, I asked my director before what that meant, and they said yes, same as a denial.
Okay. The next question, can you confirm that we are supposed to apply with our social security number and not an EIN as an independent contractor?
Right.
Should they apply with their SS number, or should they go with the EIN number if they have an EIN?
I'm trying to think about that step-by-step sheet. Doesn't it ask you for both?
I don't know.
I'll try to get back to you. But I
Okay.
think you need both. But if you're listing yourself as self-employed, you definitely need your EIN number. But I don't know that means you don't need to submit your social security number somewhere in there.
Right.
Hmm.
I'm looking at the chart as it comes
My
up.
eyes aren't good enough to look at.
Yeah, I can't see that either. All right, we'll move on to the next question. We could probably follow up with that individual later. I received a pension from a previous career. Can I still collect unemployment for my real estate career?
Yes.
I have two 1099 jobs. Can I apply for POA for both? How does that work?
You'll hit the max, up to the max. Yes. I mean, it's your 1099 earnings. It's your earnings that we're looking at, not what you were paid from certain places. So if both those jobs equal less than the $63,000, you'll be working off of both of those. But if either of them go over the max, essentially, not there's a max income, but the max benefit is 713, which is tied to an income of $63,000. So if you're over that, it's not really going to matter.
Right.
But you can't collect twice. You can't have a max benefit on one job and a max benefit for another job. It's about you and your earnings.
Got it. Great. Well, Rob, believe it or not, we got through all the questions.
Awesome.
So great job. I appreciate your leadership during these times. I want to thank you again for you and your team for being there for us to answer our questions. And if we have more questions pop up, I'll forward them on to your team, and hopefully we'll address them for our members. So thank you,
Great.
Rob.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for all the work you guys do. I forgot to say my mom was a real estate agent for a long time when I was younger. So I thank all the work you guys are doing.
Good. Thank you, Rob. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. And just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded and will be up on our website later on today. So if you have any questions, please refer back to the recording of this webinar. All right. Thank you, everybody. Please be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.